Hey, so just making another video. As I mentioned in the last one, this here's the same day. It's just a couple hours later, whatever. Um, I just got a couple things I want to announce. Really, one of them I've talked about before a little bit, but just so they're kind of all in the same video. I'm going to be working on writing. Going to be working on writing number one, like a document pamphlet. However it's going to turn out. Um, Basically, just a list and a summary on some lessons and stuff that I've learned about kind of how everything needs to go when it comes to setting up a rental property, and you're kind of going that route. I'm not going to fluff it out a whole lot, just kind of give the information, a few details about each, kind of keep it short and sweet. And again, I'm going to be writing that once I get all this stuff finished up. That way I've got all my trials and errors. Other people don't make the same mistakes that I did. There's going to be some things that are area specific, which I'll try to address in that whenever time comes. But anyways, that's more or less just going to be like a document or something I'm going to make and just put it online for free and stuff. The other thing is that I kind of wanted to make a video speaking this out, that way I kind of hold myself to it a little bit more. But I'm going to be making a book kind of outlining NPC normie behavior and how it differs from people that are kind of awakened to these things. They have a soul and their spirit. They're like spiritually entwined and stuff like that. Kind of just a observation of these people and kind of how you can spot them and some of their behaviors and kind of talking about that and how you can kind of identify yourself with these. And of course, kind of the group of people that's in between as well. I've been making a little bit of the outline, and I've wrote a few little pages of just some information, bullet points and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to structure everything yet, but I'm going to be getting some interviews from from people that I know. And I'm either going to include them in the book or do like a companion or something to the book that has those interviews, just kind of depending on what I feel as if I need to do. It's going to have like a set of questions I'm going to ask these people and try to keep them similar questions. For the most part, may add or take a few away depending on what I'm going to ask. Just kind of get their reactions and use this as an example, because you can definitely tell a group 3, which is kind of like the awakened in a way. I want to try to figure out a better structure for these instead of the group 1, 2, and 3. But just using that for now, it's kind of some information, specific things. And obviously the NPCs, you can kind of tell them right away. And the awakened people, they're a little bit harder to tell. But because a lot of times they have enough knowledge to know that they're just having to kind of go along with whatever, you know. But then once you kind of get talking to them, they'll open up and you'll be able to know. Now, the middle group, where they know that they're different than other people, but they still have a lot of NPC behavior. They're a little bit harder to identify, I believe. But anyways, I'm going to make a book kind of detailing all that. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things. Don't really know about how publishing a book. This is my first adventure and all this shit. So just kind of figuring out the little tedious shit like that. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it until I kind of have the majority of it wrote out at least. And kind of based on what I'm doing, I'm going to try to make hard copies, like an audio interview, and then transcribe it to paper as well. And we're try to flesh that out. Try to keep it at least a little bit shorter in written form and stuff. Because that's the thing, is I don't want the interviews to take up like the majority of the book. If they do end up being longer, I'm going to try to keep the examples a little bit minuscule. But then again, I may just make it like a bigger book, or may do the interviews as like a companion to the main book, kind of explaining things. But again, I'm going to write it, again, not for I'm trying to make money off of it or anything necessarily, but write it in a way where there's more just observations of these things and less just like fluff. Because it's like I've read a lot of books and stuff like that. They kind of have to get to like a certain mark, and I get that you need to have a little bit of a break. So I appreciate when our books do give you a little bit of a break and kind of bring up some unnecessary stuff. But if you're like me, you don't have a lot of time with shit. You just kind of want to read the facts and go on, you know. So I'm going to try to work on that this winter, and then kind of compile it all and put it together and stuff over the coming year or two, whatever it's going to be. No time frame, passion project. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that, and I usually have like a spark of creativity or some thoughts come to me about that, and then I'll usually try to flesh those out a little bit and just kind of jot down some things. I'm kind of still in that stage of just taking lots of notes from my brain whenever I think of these things. And also, I like to do some research on the topic stuff as well. That way I can tie it in to possibly like a scientific thing, and then also obviously a spiritual thing, because that's where, you know, most of my gnosis on it is kind of coming from. But yeah, pretty excited about that, and I'm going to keep this video a little bit shorter because I'm not going to ramble in it as much as I usually do. Just because, again, I'm trying to make this like a PSA, and I'm pretty excited about that. So I kind of keep you guys updated on some things. Oh yeah, one last thing I want to mention. In my last video, I talked about some of the people I wanted to visit and stuff. Each of those people I do get a good aura from, and this is one of the main ways you can kind of tell, is if you're a little bit more in tune with these things. If you are around people, and this is why I want to keep it in book form, because my thoughts are all over the place, and I feel like it'd be helpful to kind of have it condensed down into book form instead of just some videos where I'm rambling. But anyways, the three people that I mentioned in my last video that I'm going to do some visiting from, I get generally good auras from, and I want to kind of ask them some questions, or at least a couple of them, and do like the interview thing with them. Of course, I'm going to ask them if they'd be up for it sometime, and then I'll get back with them and do it later, because I do want to just genuinely visit these people. That's why I like them and stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been working on here and there. Mostly just, like say, writing some stuff down at night or whenever I have some time. But anyways, though, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Like I say, I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter, so have a good